This is going to be your guide for using Thievul in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm happy to be in familiar territory. You gotta remember, I've done a moveset guide for every fully evolved Pokemon. That includes Generations 2 and 3 where Game Freak didn't even care about competitive. I've been playing Pokemon competitively since early Generation 4. You had to make do with what you got back then. Now in Generation 7 and 8, we have like all of these crazy gimmicks and power creep and all these unique things on every single Pokemon. There just isn't a Pokemon anymore, it feels. It has to have something new and special instead of just being something that can work in many different situations. And Thievul, I have to say, is the most filler Pokemon in the entire franchise. It beats Delcatty. At least loved his use getting heart scales, which enabled other competitive Pokemon. Thievul, this Pokemon's barely usable in the story, and that is really not going to be a good sign when it comes to competitive. And I haven't even looked at it until today when I went, wait a second, this thing gets Stakeout? Except it doesn't have Stakeout because Stakeout is not an available ability, so we have to wait for the event that's going to unlock that. But even then, Unburden is a good ability. And that's kind of it for the Thievul. Like, it's Unburden, and no stat breaks 100. It felt tankier when I was playing through it briefly through the story, and then I just didn't use it because this Pokemon has an identity crisis. I get that it's wearing a mask, but that is no excuse to have primarily physical moves, and then the higher special attack stat that doesn't even break 100. Like, this Pokemon, it feels like I'm looking at a Generation 2 or 3 Pokemon, or Generation 4 Pokemon in the middle of the decks that's just filler for the story. But even some of those Pokemon are competitively viable or have some kind of crazy gimmick. I guess the only Pokemon more useless than Thievul is like Magcargo or something, at least competitively. And I was trying to compare it to the Gumshoes, like, alright, so what happens when we get Stakeout? Will Thievul be good? Because it's going to be a 90 base speed Gumshoes, except Gumshoes had more damage, and we never really saw it. And that's because the fatal flaw of Stakeout is people are like, wait a second, if you knock out an opponent, a new one comes in, and then Stakeout's going to activate. Unfortunately, that's not how it happens, because it has to be for that turn. So when you knock out an opponent, the opponent switches in, and then the turn ends, and then you select a move, which starts the next turn. So you couldn't just, like, keep comboing off of Stakeout under Trick Room, or Baton Pass some speed boost in Gumshoes, and then permanently have double attack on a 110 attack. It didn't work that way, so it's not really going to do too much for the Thievul. Now, what about Unburden? 90 base speed, naturally, getting an Unburden boost is going to be a speedy boy, but backing up with damage is going to be tricky. Here's something you can maybe do with Thievul, and this Pokemon is so weird, I think it's the only use case ever for a rash nature, because we want to lower our special defense as much as possible to maybe get one shot by a special attack, Focus Sash activates, Unburden activates, and then we're going to be fast and we have some damage. So we hit him with a Dark... Actually, no, we take a hit, because we're so slow, so we take a hit him with Dark Pulse. Focus Sash activates, Unburden activates, we're now faster, so we hit him with another Dark Pulse. And then we don't KO them, and then we get KO'd, and that's the life of Thievul. I like the idea of Sucker Punch here, because Mimikyu, at least you get to break Mimikyu's disguise. Like, say you finish off a weakened physical attacker, because, like, a physical sweeper or something, so Cinderace hits you with a Pyro Ball, Focus Sash, Unburden, Dark Pulse finishes it off, Mimikyu comes in, none of that mattered, at least you Sucker Punch away the disguise. Maybe you can use Sucker Punch just as a stock priority against a Shell Smash, 1 hit point, Focus Sash. So the Cloyster or the Poltegeist, something like that. You know, there's just going to be situations where Focus Sash into a sweeper is going to screw you over, and you need that priority to survive. So that's why you run it on the Thievul, but that's not the best idea. And then what about Nasty Plot? So we're kind of getting the same effect. That's like, you hit him with 2 Dark Pulse, that's going to be ×2 your damage. So you take a hit, Nasty Plot, Focus Sash, Unburden, and then you use a +2 attack. Well, +2 at 87 special attack does nothing. Like, does Thievul's underpowered existence confirm that we're going to be getting evolutions of even more Pokemon or more new Pokemon in Sword and Shield 2 or Diamond and Pearl remakes? Timestamp that, because that's the only thing that can explain such a dismal Pokemon. I was also, like, just kind of saying, like, alright, so what happens if all these things end up working out? Well, we outspeed pretty much every Pokemon raw at 90, fully invested, once Unburden gets going, and we even outspeed a +1 speed, 120 base speed Pokemon. So, Inteleon, gets outsped by our shenanigans once we're unburdened and stuff like that, even if it's Choice Scarf. I've seen a Choice Scarf Cinderace on the Battle Stadium, so I feel like anything is possible, and Thievul actually kind of deals with that a little bit. So we got that going on, but unfortunately it relies on us getting one shot, and that is not a guarantee, as the damage calculations will show. So we can guarantee it, but that means we actually lose on damage. Patea Berry is only going to be +1 special attack instead of +2 from the Nasty Plot. It means that we get to, like, deal a hit, though. So we throw out a Dark Pulse, and then we get to endure, Patea Berry Unburden, and then we throw out another Dark Pulse. So we're getting 2.5 times damage, and then we have that permanent 1.5 from the Patea Berry, and then that's it. And then we, like, look for coverage and stuff like that. So let's go into damage calculations. Here's Dark Pulse against Silvally. No matter what happens, we are screwed. Because, say we're at the +2 from the Nasty Plot, we don't KO it. Say we hit it twice, we don't KO it. I guess the Dark Pulse flinch is what you have to bank on for this Pokemon, but you can't even run a King's Rock because then you can't synergize it with the Unburden, so that's pretty silly. I was also looking at, alright, so we hit it, and then we hit it again, and it's not even a guaranteed KO at 2.5 times damage, so against bulky-ish Pokemon, we can't do anything, unless it's maybe like a Toxapex trying to Toxic Stall us because it can't hurt us, and then we get like +6 on Nasty Plot and then KO it before we die to Toxic or something. Like, that's it. But if you're in that situation, then really any Pokemon setting up would have been a better situation. I was looking at some of the damage things. This is what I mean. Like, Jolteon with Choice Specs doesn't one-shot us. So if you just kind of encounter an average sweeper throwing out a powerful move, especially a special, like if it's a physical hit, yeah, so you want to get Thievul set up against physical attackers if you're running the Focus Sash, but other than that, like, you can actually take a hit, and then it still doesn't work out. So let's just say we have a Citrus Berry, because that's one way of getting Unburden going. So you take a hit, Dark Pulse, Citrus Berry, you're outspeeding, and you can't even two-shot a Jolteon on a modest nature. What is this nonsense? I mean, I guess it gives you the instant Patea Berry, which would work for KOing and then responding to a Jolteon, but that's it, and you can't even use it to counter. Like, that'd be cool if you could predict, like, oh, this is going to do exactly 80%. Switch in Thievul, get a Pinch Berry to activate, Unburden, all that cool stuff pops off, but as we've seen at +1, cool. Now we hit it, we don't KO it, and then we die. Happens for a lot of Pokemon. Let's talk about these Cinderace. So I was talking about this weird revenge situation against the Cinderace. At +1, we don't KO it. At +0, so it already has to be missing a lot of health. Like, Cinderace has to be on its last breath, and it will die to a Gentle Breeze for Thievul to be able to, like, make use of it. And then the Pyro Ball is definitely going to destroy this thing. Just look at that. Neutral Pyro Ball. No, like, this could actually be the Scarf Cinderace. This could be the Scarf Cinderace, and you need the Focus Sash to survive the Pyro Ball to then pop off with the Unburden, and it already has to be missing health from, like, another Thievul level hit. That's how jank this Pokemon makes the game. Looking at Dragapult, doesn't one-shot us, and Dragon Darts breaks our Sash anyway, so it's like, Focus Sash is a good idea if you're expecting an overwhelming hit and then dealing with a Pokemon. Like, a weakened popping off sweeper, you know, like if Gyarados is at 25% health and you just need to survive something, and then finish the opponent off, that works. Also, because Gyarados does have a lower speed, it could be +2 on the Airstream, and then Unburden is actually going to give us another opportunity to KO it. So I guess it can stop sweeps, but then just like Unburden Hawlucha would be a better option, or a lot of, like, any Focus Sash Pokemon, really. Focus Sash into priority or something like that would be a really good way of dealing with the Pokemon as well. Dark Pulse at +0 doesn't KO the Dragapult, so we would need Endure, Berry, Outspeed, and stuff like that, and that's just going to be exclusively super effective moves. I was looking at random Pokemon like Toxtricity, and we need Patea Berry +1, Psychic, super effective hit against a 75-70 Pokemon to barely manage a KO. That is the potential for Thievul. Now, I was looking at its moveset once again, I was like, alright, well, we got Quick Guard. Quick Guard is one of the best moves in doubles. I like it. Knockoff, it's nifty, but we have no physical, so we have to dedicate ourselves to a support with a good Pokemon next to us, and then doubles Thievul. If only Thievul got Fake Out. You could normal gym Fake Out into the instant Unburden, and then be a solid support. outspeeding the opponent, knocking off items. You fake out their tailwind so they don't get set up as fast. You can then outspeed taunt them unless it's Prankster or something, but even then you get the knockoff on another Pokemon, so remove that Pokemon's sweeping power. You have the Quick Guard, you have Taunt, you have Parting Shot, so you're down on like 3 health. The opponents are missing all their items, so now you can actually lower the target's attack, special attack by 1. Get out of there. Actually, wait, Parting Shot is just the worst memento, but we don't get memento, so I guess you're stuck with that Parting Shot. But if it had Fake Out, we could do that. I think they could have gotten away with it, but Game Freak being silly. And that just leaves this. If you're running a Surge ability Pokemon, so Psychic Surge, Electric Surge, Thievul might be useful in that situation, because you instantly activate the Seed, you get your Unburden on turn 1, that means you have speed advantage against even Tailwind Pokemon like this to do something against them, and you're also gaining either a defensive stat or a special defense, and that's also where the EVs just get so weird. Like, I don't want to put a Nature into a 58 stat like that, so you go Special Defense Nature, but you put your spare EV into the defense because it might matter since we need any defensive investment. Max hit points, max speed. We're not doing damage. We're being a support. We need to be around for a little bit of time, and then being the fastest Pokemon on the field from the start is kind of nice. We knock off an item. We make them weaker. We can taunt anything bad. Quick Guard is always good for us, and then, like I said, maybe Parting Shot, or if you like a move here, Snarl works. That if we're doing it like this, we are going to have the outspeed on the Snarl, so we lower their special attack instantly. They have less damage. Like, that is the use for Thievul. And it might actually be good. So doubles Thievul support, it could find a niche, and then there we go. Maybe it actually stops out some like Trick Room, Psychic Pokemon, Psychic Terrain shenanigans. And if we have Psychic Terrain up there, you don't need the Quick Guard. I don't know, guys. That's how broken Thievul is. Either way, hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.